see death around the corner.
I see death.
Them trap boys plot to send you to the corner.
I see death. I see death.
I see death around the corner.
I see death.
Stay on your turf and don't ever cross the border.
I see death. I see death.
I see death around the corner.
I see death.
For a taste, the fiends look out and warn ya.
I see death. I see death.
I see death around the corner.
I see death.
I gotta make it out or end up a goner.
I see death.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros. I'm sorry. We have a special guest in the building. Say what's up to the people.
Guess who's back? You know what time it is. You know what time it is. Let's go. Let's go.
As you can see, G needed all the help he could get, so he begged Complex to show up.
I had to come like the Ultimate Warrior from backstage and rush into the ring. You know what I'm saying? Come tear things up, baby. You know what I mean?
So now we have a fair and balanced panel, and we're talking about what would a victory over Fury mean for Wilder's legacy. And as you can see, we have Ned the TBE, and he's been fair this whole time. And so we're turning it over to Ned the TBE to tell us what would a victory over Fury mean for Wilder's legacy.
Retirement, like redemption, everything. Like it would prove a lot because Wilder has a big chip on his shoulder. When I say chip, it's like not a potato chip, not a salsa chip, not a computer chip. It's like a chip. it's unimaginable. Like it's a chip. Like it's a new chip. It's like a programming chip. Like it's where like, oh damn, you wake up the next morning like, Wilder really beat him. Yeah, like you gotta wake up the next morning like, Wilder really beat him. Like that's the type of chip Wilder has on the shoulder. Like yo, he has to change the world with this.
We're gonna have at the retirement party, man.
Mm-hmm. Not like the chips we're gonna have at the retirement party. Shout out to Trill, you gotta plug in the retirement party because like I need people to show up, yo. This is reality right now, you know. Wilder retirement party, 12:01 is at 12:01 Sunday, Saturday, AM, PM. You know, it's right there. It's on the bridge of tomorrow. So listen, this is Wilder. Wilder beating Fury is an anomaly. It's like a rare situation that we will never see. It's like a seahorse with legs.
Like a rainbow.
It's like a rainbow in your house. Like yo, you see rainbows. It's a rainbow in your house. Like, yo, I wake up and I saw a rainbow in my house. Like, come on, bro. It's never gonna happen. But Wilder, if you win, man, I'll give you all the respect you deserve. But you're not winning. I'm not gonna say you're not, but I'll give you all the respect you deserve. At the end of the statement, Wilder, I hope you flourish, brother. I hope you flourish.
All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Trill Dollar Bill.
It will mean a lot for his legacy. He'll be 2-time world champion. It will prove that, he's not just a fan in the pan. He wasn't no fluke like how they like to say. This will really help. This will really help a lot. But I'm gonna fall back on this because I'm gonna let the real Wilder fans, you know what I'm saying, express what this will really mean to their legacy. I mean, to his legacy.
Yo, Trill, you funny.
All right, so now I'm gonna turn it over to the man who just showed up late to save Kofi G, who's trying to change his juju and his fortunes on October 9th. Complex.
What's good, fellas? Thank you for having me back. Look, Wilder's legacy to me is already set. Wilder is one of the longest reigning heavyweight champions in the world, and that's a fact. I mean, in history, he's got 10 title defenses. He's up there tied with Muhammad Ali. Now, I'm not saying he is the same as Muhammad Ali, but there's only a certain amount of people who've had that many title defenses. So his legacy is already set. He's in the Hall of Fame, in my eyes. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But what does a victory over Fury mean? I think it brings him one step closer to being the guy, right? Every generation had this one guy that they talk about at heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? Lennox was the guy. You know what I mean? There was other champions, but Lennox, when we talk about that time, Lennox was the guy. You know what I mean? Muhammad Ali was the guy. Rocky Marciano was the guy. There's been heavyweight champions all through time. They've come and gone. But there's only a few heavyweights that stand out from that era. They represent that era. Right now, to me, the best heavyweights, it was Fury, Wilder, Joshua, who just lost. But let's say that has to get figured out. The only way there's gonna be one. There's only way there's gonna be one is out of one who beats out one of those three. It's like Highlander. There can only be one. You got to beat the other top guys in the division to be considered the number one. So Wilder needs a win. Fury already has a win over Klitschko, which he can kind of push himself up to say he's one of the guys. He also beat Wilder. So if he beats Wilder again, then Fury almost cements himself as the guy of this era. If he can then beat Joshua, I think Wilder needs this win, right, to beat Fury, then to beat, if Joshua wins his belt back, or to beat Usyk. That makes him the guy. There is no question about this era. Who was the best guy of this division? We'll talk about everybody else, and they were great, but Wilder was the guy. So Wilder does need this win to take his legacy to that next level. But to me, Wilder's already said he doesn't have anything else to prove. You can't. I don't care what you want to say. You can't win 40 fights off of just whatever at the heavyweight level.
Not what? No. Let's call it what it is. Complex, not whatever. Bums.
Bro, stop it. You no. See, this is what I don't like. This is what I don't like about people who just try to. You want to downplay when Wilder does it. When other people do it, you want to give him credit. Chris Arreola just went 12 rounds with Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz, the same guy who knocked out Joshua
and almost dropped him.
And yeah, and so, but Wilder,
he did drop him.
Wilder finished him in what, 6 rounds or something like that. So let's stop the shenanigans, dog. The same guy Wilder knocked out Dominic Brazil in literally like a minute, whereas Anthony Joshua went like 7 rounds with him. Let's stop the cat, man. Come on, give Wilder his credit. Wilder knocks these guys out because he's that good, and nobody else can do it. So let's recreate it then. If Wilder's just a creation, recreate it then. You said you made Hove, make another Hove. Go ahead. I like to see it, but you can't. Wilder's one of a kind, so stop it.
If I can make another Wilder, I wouldn't.
You are
another Wilder, dog.
Exactly. You Wilder's mini-me.
Yeah.
Stop it. You know what I'm saying?
I'll turn it over to Big Mo.
Over masturbate.
What?
Man, I think
masturbate.
I think it'll do a lot for his legacy. Beating Tyson Fury, because right now Tyson Fury is looked at, or he should be looked at, as the best of the heavyweight division. Anthony Joshua, he'll you'll think he's unbeatable, and then he'll come out and just look terrible against somebody that he shouldn't, in Ruiz, and Usyk had a great performance, a great game plan. But I think a win against Tyson Fury would do a lot for Deontay Wilder's legacy. I think it'll actually kind of start his legacy, since a lot of people don't respect what he's done in the past. So I think a win against Fury means a lot for Deontay's legacy.
All right, did I go to Mike Tyson G yet? All right, go ahead, G.
I am Mike G. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is where I'm a kind of defend that, because the criticism of Wilder for years has been, he's like an Uber driver, abuser, a tomato can eater. So I have to give Ned that. That's why I was like, Ned kind of got something there. So if Wilder beats Fury, right, to me that means he's a legitimate heavyweight threat. I already think that, but for the naysayers, right, for the Neds in the world, right, who feel like Wilder has no chance of beating Fury, he pulls that off. He makes a humongous statement in the heavyweight division. And to add, you gotta remember, Usyk is a wild card that's messing up a lot of things. Complex kind of brought this up. Remember, just like a year ago, the three-headed monster was AJ, Fury, and Wilder, right? Not in that particular order, but those three gentlemen. Now the talks is, people are saying it's Usyk, Fury, AJ, right? People kind of counting like Wilder out of the three-headed monster debate. Wilder beats Fury, he's back in there. Now it's Usyk, AJ Wilder, not in that particular, but those three gentlemen. So it means a lot for Wilder's legacy. I hear what Complex is saying, like, longest reigning. Nobody cares when your resume doesn't have names of note, right? So I think with a Fury, a clear, decisive victory against Fury solidifies Wilder, right? Now you can't say, oh, Wilder's a bum, like Ned's been saying. You have to put respect on his name.
Yeah, but people people trying to make Wilder out to be a bum don't make a lot of sense.
I agree. It makes no sense.
The Wilder haters are on one side because they're gonna hate Wilder no matter what. I'm talking about if you could be objective and just look at him as a fighter and what he accomplished, you have to respect it. And
they talking about boxing skill because they can't argue with the result. The record is what the record is. They talking about how he looked in the ring.
That's fine how he looks, but the whole part of the skill is to get the end result. Right?
That's what I'm saying.
So
that's what they arguing about. The skill.
I don't care if he does backflips and then knocks the guys out. He got the end result.
Let Ned get in here for a second. Go ahead, Ned.
So you telling me what y'all saw in the first fight and the second fight is not facts? Like it's not something we can go off of to criticize Deontay Wilder? The first fight, yes.
What do you mean?
All right, Ed, you know what? All right. What you're saying, right? You're looking at it as Wilder's a bum, as opposed to saying Fury's just that talented. You get what I'm saying? That's just like the Usyk AJ effect. You could say AJ's a bum, but you could be like, no, Usyk's just that talented. You see what I'm saying? So it's that's why a number of times on this show, Ned, you be like, yo, Wilder's a bum, or you talk about other fighters as being bums. I feel like that's extremely disrespectful to the sport. But these guys are dedicating their lives.
So I have a question for you, G. Are you going to say that I say that Wilder's a bum too?
No, you never said it. Surprisingly, you never said it. But this guy,
we know where Caden stands. We know where Caden stands with Wilder.
This character Ned has said it.
Where do I stand with Wilder, Complex,
bro?
I want to hear from you.
Wilder's a champion you love to hate. You love to hate. Listen,
Wilder's not a champion. Let's get that right.
Okay. Until next week. Until next week. No, look, I think this is what happens. A lot of guys don't like Wilder because he's unconventional. And they look at him, they're like, he's not supposed to be doing this, right? And the only reason I say that is, look, when Wilder lost, Caden was in his closet covered in some coats talking about Wilder's exposed. He put out a video 2 minutes after the fight. I'm like, okay, fine. Joshua loses. It's not exposure. It's not whatever. It's just, things happen. Wilder loses one fight, and there's multitude of conversations and topics. Does he even come back? Whatever. That's my only problem, is that people love to hate on Wilder. It's not just
now. Let the record reflect that I've been peaceful this whole time, and
let the record reflect. G didn't finish his.
I know, but Complex. Complex interrupted you and fired shots at me. Now, I'm gonna give the floor back to you, but let me just address this situation. Caden didn't make a video in his closet because Deontay Wilder lost, and it was Caden caught this for years. Am I lying, G?
You got that?
I caught it for years, bro. So I made a video about something that I predicted for years.
You predict for years, but it takes years for your prediction to get right. So how can you be right?
It's not until years for my prediction to get right. See, this is what I'm saying. You keep making it seem like Deontay Wilder was fighting legitimate heavyweights, and that's okay. If you want to believe that, then fine. Dominic Brazil is not legitimate.
That's
okay.
I won't go back.
All right, cool. Yeah. Yo, Complex. I don't want to have a fight with you. That's why I've been saying here.
Blessings. I came.
We got other people here, but I just want to make this point. When Wilder lost, right, he was violated. He got dropped multiple times. He was in the corner with the look of fear, with the fear of God in his eyes, so badly that Mark Brilliant threw in the towel. When Anthony Joshua lost to Alexander Usyk, it was a competitive fight that ended in the 12th round. And it was a fight in which Anthony Joshua actually won some rounds, unlike Deontay Wilder, who only won one round in my eyes in the second fight with Tyson Fury. For you to act like it was a similar fight because Joshua Wilder lost is you being disingenuous, because you and I both know
Kid is a
that
smart
what
dude. That's why I like him.
how Joshua lost, it gives you more reason to believe he can reverse the outcome than the way that Deontay Wilder lost.
Wilder's loss is very similar to the loss that Joshua had against Andy Ruiz. They got hit, they got wobbled, they couldn't come back into the fight. They lasted for a few rounds. It got ended. Literally,
Is it similar?
It's very similar. It's very similar.
Hold on.
Well, in fact,
You
actually,
do
no,
that.
you're right. It's not similar. Joshua got dropped more times than Wilder did. Joshua got dropped 4 times. Wilder only got
What are you
dropped
leaving
twice.
out? What are you leaving out?
What am I
What are
leaving
you
out?
leaving out?
What am I leaving out? They both got
You're
dropped.
leaving out the fact that Joshua
Joshua
dropped
dropped
Ruiz
Andy Ruiz.
first. And he was
Wilder's
going to
dropped
finish
Fury
Ruiz
twice.
when he got
Wilder's
caught.
dropped Fury twice.
In the second fight, Wilder never dropped Fury, which makes it
So
something
what?
completely different complex.
Fine, he got caught earlier, but Wilder's still, in my eyes, one that's like.
I know you feel me.
Not to go round and round and round. Because
I forfeit my time, yo.
No, I don't want to go round and round and round. No,
Yes,
my
go
bad,
ahead.
my bad. I know. When I come in, I come to the place.
It's all good. We love you
That's
being
what I'm
complex.
saying.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying. When Wilder loses, everybody jumps out. You're talking about, for years you've been predicting this. So you mean to tell me that there's only 2 or 3 good heavyweights in the entire division? Or is that so you're saying boxing as a sport is just trash, or what are we saying here? Because Wilder wins, you say, I've been predicting for years. So it took years for your prediction to get right, even after our first Fury fight where Wilder still got the draw. Then he loses. Now it's, I've been right this whole time. How you right this whole time if he's been winning? So it took you years. You've been waiting for somebody to beat him so that you can jump out and say, Wilder's trash, Wilder's trash. But look, at the end of the day, it's on Wilder. Everything will be answered next week. Let's just leave it at that. Because,
I'm going to respond to that, Jim, and give you a time back. Look, for years I've been predicting that Wilder is technically flawed. That his right hand is bailing him out against lower tier opposition, but when he fights a superior fighter, a superior boxer who has the desire to actually win. So that's what you're missing. You take a guy like Dominic Brazil and you point out the fact it took Joshua 6 rounds to get him out, but you overlook the fact that Joshua actually beat him when he was undefeated and Joshua beat him first, which means it was probably more difficult. I'm not taking away what Wilder did, but again, you got to put things in its proper perspective. So who cares who did it first or who did it better or whatever? It's irrelevant. The point is Brazil is a guy who people beat up on to pad their resume, i.e. Otto Wallin, right? Same with Chris Arreola. That's another guy Wilder has a title defense against. The only guy Wilder has on his resume that you could say no one else sparked out or hasn't been used as a resume builder for other people, because Bermane Staverne's been used to build up resumes as well now. Go see Joe Joyce. The only person is Luis Ortiz, and Luis Ortiz isn't stepping in the ring with anyone else for us to find out how good he is or how good he isn't. One person who actually made him look better, I feel like, was Chris Arreola. But then again, if you look at the Chris Arreola who Wilder got, that was the Chris Arreola that was showing up out of shape. And you can see the physical difference in Chris Arreola when he fought Andy Ruiz. But I still don't take that away from him. The point I'm making is the heavyweight division, when Deontay Wilder was running through it, was a weak heavyweight division. And the heavyweights we have now are better than the guys he beat. And that's not up for debate. That's just a fact. You have Joe Joyce, Olympic silver medalist, who arguably should be gold medalist because there was corruption in what happened there, who's there now. You got Daniel Dubois, who's there. You got Dillian White, who's more proof. You got all these guys, Joseph Parker, who Deontay Wilder's never stepped in the ring with. And that's what I'm getting at. And you can sit here and give credit for fights that never happened. That's not what I do. But what I predicted was Deontay Wilder would get exposed when he fought another champion. And this is what G can tell you, because I always pointed out the fact I don't care about you beating up on contenders. Fight another champion. Fight another champion caliber opponent. Unified, something Wilder's never done, never unified, never been in the ring with another champion. The only time Wilder fought another champion was Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury didn't lose the belt. He was stripped of the titles. And then Tyson Fury beat him. So this is what I've been predicting, that Wilder would lose when he fought another champion. Now, so you can sit here and say I waited 5 years. No, he waited 5 years to fight another champion. That's what happened. So thank you. Now, G, you can go ahead and get your time back.
Well, I'll be brief. I'll say this. AJ is actually going through this right now, Complex. There are people on Twitter saying that Anthony Joshua is a bum. Like they're literally like they're throwing dirt on AJ's name. There's
Big Mo's raising his hand.
listen,
Hold on, let Big Mo in there. Big Mo.
No, I said it before. I don't like Anthony Joshua.
Okay, tell
I said it
us why
before.
you think he's a bum.
I don't think he's a bum, but when he lose like that, I'm gonna go at him just like everybody. You know, everybody talk when somebody lose, but I just don't think when somebody meets him with aggression, I don't think he's for it. He'll wait till you tire out or till you lose steam or whatever. But I don't see him just coming in and just running over people like he should. Andy Ruiz was like 300 pounds when he fought the second fight, so I don't even.
I'll ask you a question. Do you think Dillian White met Anthony Joshua with aggression? You don't think so?
But he also fizzled out. Like I said, Anthony Joshua was not brawling with nobody, and that's just a fact. He ain't brawling with nobody.
and also to add, that was pre-champion Joshua when he fought Dillian White. So that was like a that was.
I was asking. That's a good point.
Yeah. So I'm about to finish.
you.
So pretty much, this topic you could easily say probably in the next few months, what would a victory over Usyk mean for Joshua's legacy, right? Because people are literally saying the same exact thing. Oh, once you fought a real champion, you got body bag. He's a bum. He's this. He's that. No, that's the game of the boxing world. People gonna hate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Once you shut your haters down, then it solidifies. Like even your haters go, I gotta give you that. So if Wilder destroys, or even if he wins against Fury, he's gonna get the respect. But if he like mollywops Fury, a lot of people gonna be like, you know what, I was wrong. So to me, that's even better than those future Hall of Fame accolades. It's shutting your haters down at the very moment. Like putting all of the silence in the room. Like when AJ silenced everyone with the Ruiz rematch, even I was like, all right, respect to AJ. And even though you may not have liked how he did it, a lot of people didn't like how he did it, but he did it. And a lot of people had to eat crow. You know what I'm saying? So if Wilder could do the very same thing, that's the joy that Wilder will have next weekend. To silence all his haters. Ned, I'm talking to you.
All right. So here's the thing. Like, for me, a victory over Tyson Fury would mean vindication and validation for Deontay Wilder. Because for years, Deontay Wilder has heard, and rightfully so, in my opinion, and it's not even my opinion, it's facts. All you got to do is watch the audits. Like, he's been fighting easy touches, and he's been getting rid of those guys. And people question, can you do the same against a quality opponent? And I consider Luis Ortiz, I think Luis Ortiz is a quality opponent, but the problem with Luis Ortiz is his resume is questionable. His best win's Bryant Jennings, and when last seen, against Flores, it was the phantom forearm punch, whatever, that took that guy out. So you never really know. But with Tyson Fury, you have a man who has a legitimate resume. He's the one who dethroned Vladimir Klitschko. He took time off. He came and he gave Deontay Wilder all he can handle. And so he stopped Wilder. If Wilder beats Tyson Fury, what Wilder does is he becomes the lineal champ. Now, we've had the arguments about lineal was broken with Lennox. Is Fury the real lineal? But the thing is, he's recognized as lineal. So if Fury's recognized as lineal and Wilder beats him, you now have to recognize Wilder as lineal. So if you get the status as lineal, you are viewed as the man who beat the man. Your name goes on that list, that tree of all the guys who were the man and then the guys who beat the man. Because there's some guys who've been heavyweight champion, but their name will not be on that lineal tree. Guys like Johnny Ruiz from Chelsea, Massachusetts. He's not going to be on that list of lineal. If Wilder beats Fury, he's on the list of lineal. You know who else isn't on the list of lineal? Anthony Joshua. It's not on the list of lineal. So if Deontay Wilder beats Tyson Fury, that's an argument that, hey, he's the man that beat the man. That's validation. That's being legitimized like a mug. That is, you can no longer say that this dude is a fraud. He only beats cab drivers. He beats this. No, you're going to have to address Deontay Wilder as the man who beat the man. That's statement if he beats Tyson Fury. What does it do for him if he beats Tyson Fury? He is now the WBC champion. And everyone's been saying, I don't want to see a 4. I don't want to see a 4. I don't want to see a 4. Well, fine. Keep that energy, because if Wilder wins, you've been saying you don't want to see a 4. So now if he moves on, don't say he's a ducker, because everyone's been saying you don't want to see Wilder, you don't want to see this fight again, you don't want to see Wilder Fury again. Go ahead, man.
Oh my God. We're not saying we don't want to see a 4. We're not going to see a 4 because it's not happening. Wilder's not winning, and I stand on that. I believe it. Receive it, and I'm not being deceived by it. All right.
All right. This question isn't about is Wilder going to win. It's about what a victory over Fury would mean for Wilder. So that's what I'm discussing right now. We'll get into that point when it's time. But everyone's saying they don't want to see 4. So in that case, Wilder should just get to move on, because it will be a trilogy where they drawed one. Fury got one, Wilder got one. It is what it is. They move on. So Wilder fights Dillian and then goes after the winner of the Joshua Usyk rematch. It will put him in position to fight for undisputed again. That's what this would do. So what this means for Wilder's legacy is no one can call him a fraud, because he would be the man who beat the man. His name would be on the lineal tree, and he would be back in the running for fighting for undisputed, and this time he'd be the lineal and WBC champion, which would mean he has claim to say, I'm actually the man in this fight. I know Usyk beat AJ or whatever, but I'm the guy whose name's on the tree. So this does wonders for Deontay Wilder's career. This is huge for Deontay Wilder. If he can pull off this victory, it changes what anyone could ever say about him. So that's what victory for Deontay Wilder would do for his career.
2-time.
Let us know how you feel in the comments. Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe, and check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros.
When things seem bleak, walk with me. To navigate these streets, walk with me.